So I just wanted to talk about how to be successful when practicing semen retention. Just some tips and things that have really helped me in my years of practicing. And maybe if you're new to semen retention or you're just starting out, these things I think will really help you and maybe gain some clarity on what you're really trying to accomplish by practicing semen retention. So I think the most important thing is to not suppress your sexuality. So you can definitely stay sexually active and contain your semen without ejaculating. It's possible to have orgasm without ejaculation. This takes some training, of course, but I think the biggest problem people run into is that, so this kind of goes into our habits and our sexual habits. So say you've been in a habit of masturbating every day and ejaculating, and maybe you've been doing this since your early teens or whenever you started. So you may have, years and years and years of that habit built in. So it's not easy to change that habit overnight. If you go from masturbating every day and ejaculating to suddenly saying, okay, well, I'm done with masturbating, I'm done with ejaculating, I'm never going to do it again, then you're probably not going to last very long. It's like you've been a smoker for years and you try to quit cold turkey. I mean, maybe some people have success with it, but most people don't. So I think it's important to set realistic expectations for yourself. So in my opinion, the most important thing is to sort of gain conscious awareness of what you're doing with your sexual energy. I think it's important to remain sexually active, whether it's sexual intercourse with a partner or masturbation, whatever. And in the path I've learned from, masturbation is a path to practice with yourself, to train yourself, to start to circulate instead of ejaculating out the life force, and just this like frantic over stimulation, just trying to reach that orgasm and ejaculation. Instead of having that approach, you take it slow and really enjoy the sensations, feel the energy that's building, the aroused energy, and then you move that through the body. So when you learn to be in the moment with it and really feel the sexual energy when you're having an experience, then you start to be more present, more in your body, and this opens the pathway and the possibility of having full body orgasms without ejaculating, which is entirely possible. There are many techniques to do this that I teach as well, but so I don't think suppressing sexual energy is a healthy thing at all. I think it's important to have balance and control of your sexual energy. I would say it's extremely important to stop looking at porn. If you do that, that is something that will drain your energy in the long run. Whether or not you're ejaculating, it's very unhealthy to looking at porn in general. I've made other videos talking about this, so I won't go into it too much right now, but basically if you're going to be practicing semen retention, it's imperative that you're not looking at pornography. So it really comes down to being more conscious with your sexuality, your sexual relationships, and learning to draw that energy, that aroused energy. So you can have as much sex or masturbation as you want. That's not the problem. The problem is unconscious ejaculation, over ejaculating all the time and just losing all your energy. It really takes a toll on the body. So that's the important thing, is to train yourself to start working with this energy and circulating it, recirculating it within yourself. You can recycle the energy, and so that even if you do ejaculate at some point, it's not going to be that big of a loss because you've been circulating this energy and working with it. So I would say that's extremely important to anyone practicing semen retention, is to learn the sexual kung fu practices, to learn how to separate the orgasm and the ejaculation and draw the sexual energy through the body. So that is something that I think was number one on my path of semen retention, was not suppressing my sexuality. So I think it's important to have realistic expectations. You're probably not going to be able to go the rest of your life without ejaculating. You know, maybe you'd like to, but it's just probably not going to happen. Especially if you're, you know, in your 20s or 30s or you're a teenager. You know, the body builds up sexual energy very quickly. If you're practicing retention, you start to notice this. After a few days, all of a sudden you have this incredible energy building up, and it can be a little edgy. You know, you have to learn how to deal with this energy, deal with the extra energy you have. And so I think it's important just to see how long you can go without ejaculating and not obsessing over it. You know, if you start feeling guilty because you've ejaculated, you know, if you've had like a relapse of, you know, looking at porn and masturbating or something, I mean, don't feel too guilty about it, because when you associate guilt with ejaculation, that's an extremely unhealthy thing. You know, the nature of sexual energy is to amplify things. So if you're feeling guilty about this sexual experience, then you're just going to be causing some real potential traumas for yourself. So it's important to just take it easy on yourself. You know, say, I mean, if you're able to go 5 days at a time without ejaculating, that's still a milestone compared to the average male, I think. You know, so you know, start small, but and in the long run, aim high. You know, see how long you can go without ejaculating, because the longer you go, overall, can be more beneficial to you. But you know, it's not going to kill you if you can only make it, say, 5 days to a week. You know, I think that people tend to sort of set their expectations too high, and then they fail again and again, and they feel like they failed, and they just kind of give up with it. So it's important just to relax, just enjoy the process, enjoy changing your sexual habits. That's the most important thing, I feel, is changing your sexual habits, not being in these unconscious patterns that you're doing over and over. You know, I think a lot of people's sexual interactions are very not in the moment, not in their body. They're kind of focusing on this goal, like, I'm trying to reach this orgasm, you know, this is what I'm trying to reach this certain point, and then it's all about that, and then, you know, it's over in 2 seconds, so what's the point? So it's more about being present with that sexual feeling and expanding that, instead of being obsessed with this fleeting orgasm at the end of it, if that makes any sense. So another thing is you're going to need new things to channel your energy into. You know, if you're new to semen retention, like I said, you're going to notice after a few days that this energy builds up very quickly, and it's very potent energy. Sexual energy is, you know, the most powerful force available. It creates life, it creates universes. So you need to start channeling your energy into new things. So say, you know, you normally just sit around watching TV and playing video games. You start retaining your semen, you're going to feel very, very anxious and very drawn to do something, and you might feel a bit agitated because you have no outlet for this energy, so you might go back to your old patterns of ejaculating or whatever. So it's extremely important you find new things to put your energy into. I think creative outlets are great, you know, art, making music, creating art, whatever creative outlets you're drawn to. Exercise is extremely important as well. Even something like running, you know, getting some cardio exercise helps you burn off a lot of the extra fiery energy you're going to be building up by retaining your semen. You know, going to the gym, working out, whatever. This is going to help you tremendously. I think the most for me at least, the most helpful things have been practices like meditation, yoga, and qigong. Qigong especially, I would say, because you're really opening up energy channels in your body, and you can start to move the sexual energy through it. And that's the most important thing when you're retaining your semen, is you want to keep that sexual energy flowing. Because if you're just letting it sit there in your genitals and you're not working with it, then it's going to build up and be a little stagnant. You can actually have some issues from this. People develop prostate issues and things like that by being celibate for long periods of time and not working with the energy, not working with that area of their body. So it's important to learn these different sexual kung fu practices to work with that energy and move it throughout the body. because you can use this energy at any time in the day, whether it's aroused or not. The sexual energy is still there, and so you can breathe with it and move it throughout your body. There's certain practices to do this, and it'll amplify anything you're doing. It'll amplify your creativity. So when you're retaining your semen, then you just have this vast reserve of energy that you can use any time of the day. So practicing meditation, yoga, and qigong are extremely important, I feel, to anyone practicing semen retention. And again, I think it's important not to expect that you're never going to ejaculate again, because whether it's a wet dream or a sexual encounter that you get overexcited by, it's going to happen at some point, and it's not that big of a deal. It's when you're ejaculating every single day, maybe multiple times a day, that it's too much. It's draining your body. It's draining your energy. But if you've been practicing retention for a while, and if you ejaculate every now and then, you're not going to feel that drained by it. If you're feeling that drained by ejaculation, that means that you have weakness in the body because you've been ejaculating too much. But when it's more spread out, when it's every now and then, it's really not that big of a deal, because you have that extra energy built up, and you won't notice that big of a difference. Say you're ejaculating once a month, or it really depends on your body type, your health. There's many factors to this. So just overall, don't look at porn. Try not to be too obsessed with the thought of sex. And this could be a difficult thing for a lot of males. I mean, it's something I had to go through. So this is why meditation and things like this, retraining your mind, is really important. You have to undo all this programming you have. We're so bombarded with sexual stimulation, it can be hard to get away from these things. But when you're able to retrain your mind and really strengthen your willpower, then you can control your thoughts, you can control your feelings, and that is going to be immensely helpful for you. So just be clear about why you're practicing semen retention. Are you doing it out of fear? Are you doing it because you're afraid you're afraid women won't be attracted to you unless you are retaining, or something like that? Are you afraid you're not going to be successful in life unless you practice semen retention? Because anytime you're doing things out of fear, you may not be that successful in the long run. It's more important to have positive goals, positive reinforcements for your practice. Say you just want to have more energy, more health, more happiness and balance in your life. I think that's a great reason to practice semen retention. And don't think of it as a failure if you do ejaculate. If you're training, you're using masturbation to train yourself to have higher orgasmic states and non-ejaculatory orgasms. You might ejaculate sometimes in your training, and it's not that big of a deal, because in the long run you'll learn from it. You'll learn how to control that aroused energy, and eventually you'll be able to master your ejaculation. So it's all a process. It's not like you retain for 30 days and you're like, okay, that's it. I'm just never going to ejaculate again. Everything's great. It's a constant process, and it may be easier sometimes. It may be harder, but just stick with it. And if you do ejaculate, don't worry about it. Just keep going. I suggest not keeping track of how long, how many days you've been going, because this again may just set you up for a feeling of failure. Like, oh, I only made it this long, and I made it this long this one time, but I can't do that again. So just relax, have fun. Just know that by doing your best at retaining your semen, you're already doing better than the majority of males in this world right now. So just enjoy the process and have fun with it. So I hope you found this video helpful. I have other videos on how to work with the sexual energy and how to separate the orgasm from ejaculation. So check out some of my other videos, and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. Have a great day.